I was going to America last week, and a few days before I left, I got an email that my flight had changed and I now had a 12-hour layover in Kiev. So instead of being sad about losing a day in New York, I called my Ukrainian friend and I asked her if she had some people who could show me around for the day, and I ended up having the most amazing day in Kiev. It's an awesome city. I'm gonna show you some videos from when I was there, and then at the end talk to my friend a little bit more about what's happening in Ukraine and why it's a place that everybody should go. I am on my layover in Kiev. Marina and Sasha are gonna show me around, so hopefully we get to see some cool stuff in addition to the Champions League final. We'll find out.
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Yay, go Ukraine! So these are scenes from the Euromaidan 2014 revolution that happened in the square. See that building over there. It says freedom is our religion. It was shot at, that's why it's all covered. Now Ukraine is much more peaceful.
Oh, that used to be a street that cars could drive on, but now it's a walking street, and all of the cobblestones were taken out, and you can still see blood splatter, and there are flowers laid and names.
We are now in St. Sophia's. That back there is, which one?
St. Michael's Cathedral.
And then we're all the way up to the top and show you some views, hopefully. Have I mentioned yet that I am afraid of heights? But I'm gonna do it. Why not? So hot. Now
Refreshing.
we're getting
Hydrated.
lots more walking around Kiev. More to see after this. See you soon.
To go into our restaurant, you must know our password. Do you know it?
Yes.
Okay, maybe you say it.
It is Bortsaya Povaret.
Perfect. Come in, please.
So we have some foie gras, Ukrainian,
Pashtet in Ukrainian.
3 different types of Ukrainian cheese, and of course, caviar to finish up our appetizers. It is time for some dumplings. Very good. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about Kiev and exploring it with us, and hopefully come back and have the best guide that there is.
Thank you for coming to my Ukraina.
So, history of Ukraine.
Yeah, so historically Ukraine has been influenced by a lot of different powers. So the western part of the country was influenced by the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and then the Crimea was influenced by the Ottoman Empire, and the eastern part of Ukraine, since it's bordering Russia, it had a really, really heavy Russian influence.
Before I go on any trip, I always like to learn as much as I can about the country, its history, and what's currently going on. To do that, I usually like to talk to my friends who are from those places. I'm lucky to have friends from all over the world, from international schools and companies that I've gone to and worked for. And so before I went to Ukraine, I was talking to my friend.
Hi, I'm Sofia. I'm from Ukraine. At the moment, I'm actually living in Abu Dhabi, studying in New York University here.
So, with Ukraine, a lot of people now only know about the conflict, Russia, Crimea, the elections and the revolutions. It's kind of complicated. Can you simplify it and tell us what's happening now?
Yes. So a lot of people assume and not just about Ukraine, about many countries, that if it's not in the news, that means it's not happening anymore.
Sure.
Which is almost never the situation, and that is what happened in Ukraine. So we do have a war still happening in Ukraine. We still, unfortunately, have people dying on a daily basis. And although this is all very sad and we hate the fact that we're being invaded, we are trying to make it better. We got into an economic crisis, of course, when the war first started after the revolution, but we're trying to solve this economic crisis in Kiev. And so when you actually enter Kiev, as you saw, it's very safe, and people are actually trying to make do of the situation. And as well, we have a lot of volunteers helping the war in Ukraine, the war in eastern Ukraine. And so like a little bit brief history, we had a revolution in 2013 when our president did not want to sign an agreement to start our entering into the European Union. Then that revolution turned more into human rights and how they were broken in our country. Mm-hmm. And that's when Crimea was annexed. And
Russia.
To Russia, yes. And after that, there was an invasion of Russia into Ukraine, which for a while they would say that was a civil war, which it wasn't. It was Russian soldiers on Ukrainian land. And now it's still an ongoing issue. They have, it's two states that we have conflicts with. It's Donetsk and Luhansk, and we have Russian soldiers there at the moment, and we're trying to fight them off.
So it's getting better, but currently still like
it's still
foreign
very
troops.
Stagnant. It's nothing much is happening, but the Russian troops are still on Ukrainian soil.
And then one thing that I always thought was interesting that I never thought of until I met you was that not really in English, but in a lot of languages, Ukraine is called the Ukraine.
Yes.
And that bothers you.
That
Why?
pisses us off so much.
And why does that
Because
bother you?
when you say the of something, that means that it's part of something else.
Like the South in America.
Yes. And so when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, people would call us the Ukraine. And many history books still write the Ukraine. However, now that we're a sovereign and independent country, we don't like being called the Ukraine because it makes us seem like we're not so, especially at a time like this when we're having such huge conflicts dealing with sovereignty.
Yeah, so when you want to, you've been independent now since
1991.
1991. And so to be called as if you're part of something else
really bothers us.
Especially when that foreign power in some ways is getting in. So I always think that's fun to like learn about what's happening and what's been happening, but as a tourist often that's like not seen or experienced. And when I was there, I've been twice, it was really fun. I mean, like I was there last weekend with all of your friends, and like we went on this, like Kiev is just this awesome European city. I mean, there's these awesome restaurants that we went to. We went up in the towers and looked down into the beautiful city with the river going through it. I mean, when you think of Ukraine in your like childhood and stuff, you probably don't think about like all that history. Like, what is Ukraine to you?
Oh, well, it's always changing. What I really love about Ukraine is its rich history. I really love the fact that we have such a rich and engaging and beautiful history. However, we have so much to talk about nowadays, aside from the war. For example, our businesses are flourishing in Ukraine at the moment, and our art, what's it called?
The art scene.
The art scene is really growing in Ukraine as well. I think, I don't know if you're going to put this in the video, but you had the murals that you saw. That's a really good friend of mine, Gio, who hires different artists from all over the world to come and do these murals around Ukraine. So it's beautiful, it's colorful. Awesome. There's so many colors, but this is only Kiev. There's also other cities like Lviv, which is the cultural center of Ukraine. And that is even more colorful. It has even a richer history, and it's much more European than Kiev, because Kiev was part of Russia at some point, while Lviv was part of the Austria-Hungary and Poland. And so it's very different vibes, let's put it that way. And then there's Odessa, which is where our sea is, and that's, of course, just laying around by the sea is amazing. And then the Carpathians, where our mountains are, we also have a skiing resort there, but in the summer it's beautiful, and there's some of the oldest, it's one of the oldest mountain ranges in Europe as well.
Wow.
So it's really nice.
So I've been twice, but I've only been to Kiev, but there's a lot more that I
There's
have
a
to
lot
go
more.
and see.
Yeah.
And I guess one other thing that's important is, and that I love about like you, is that in any situation, we always know that there's many sides to the stories, and you're always open to talk to, like I've seen you talk to Russians about what they think about it, and talk to other like Europeans about all of it. And I think that's always important as a traveler when we're going somewhere to think about all the different stories that we're being told. And I think with Ukraine, when it's a complicated situation, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
it's
And it's important to understand that it's not like we blame all the Russians for this. We understand that, with a country so grand, not everyone can have, it's obviously not everyone saying like, yes, let's attack Ukraine. We understand it's the high powers, we understand it's the government more so than the people. So we don't have issues with the people, it's more with the government.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back now. I feel like we should.
Good.
When are you inviting me for like a big tour?
Summer is great and winter is great if you want to ski. Skiing is amazing.
Maybe we go ski this weekend. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that
Cool.
would be nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video about Ukraine, and I want to show you more of my current travels, so there'll be lots more videos. So subscribe down below, follow me on Instagram and Facebook for all the photos of everything, and hope to see you guys again soon.